Oh, good morning, Cyber. asks Theo. I was just doing random improv, so it was probably a bunch of different songs put together, Theo. There's a little bit of signals in there. Crap. Yeah, there is some signals in there, and also somebody help me out. What else was I playing? Oh, I played Around the Pond also. Oh yeah, for sure. Cyber. I'm doing okay, Leon. Thanks for asking. Thanks, Theo. My guess is due to the fires. Do you live pretty close to the fires, Jordan? Hello, Clark. How you doing, Clark? Oh, thanks, Jordan. That's a very glass half full outlook, Clark. I appreciate your optimism and positivity. Bark. It's a fruit smoothie that I make at the beginning of the morning streams. Does the ankle seem like it is? Really? Thank you for recognizing Finmate, Clark. I don't play it in the stream too often. I really thought today was Thursday for some reason. Just want this week to be over, I guess. Oh, hello, Dar. I want all weeks to be over too, Cyber. I almost said that. I was like, I just can't have him in a hurry to have this week over. But also the one after that, and probably the one after that. I'm kind of done with this year, I guess. I had some similar thoughts, Dar, a couple of days ago. It just seems to make people get disgusted. I was hanging out with a friend recently, and they said they were talking about the scene in Zion from The Matrix when they're having that really big party. It's kind of like just like a giant rave underground, where everybody was just like sweating and like jumping all over each other and making out and stuff. And they were like, "Oh, it's like hard to imagine those scenes now." Um, yeah. Anywho, especially for America, this is going to traumatize an entire generation of people, says Dar. Public pools have been gross as it is. Yeah. Usually our immune system is fine with stuff like that, but now we just kind of have to pretend it doesn't exist as a precaution. Yeah, it's. Hmm. I will say this. My hair's getting a little long. You know, I looked at a photo of me yesterday. That might have been this morning actually. A photo of me when I was in New York in 2018. 18. 18. I looked at a. Yes, 18. I looked at a photo of myself in New York. 17. That doesn't really matter. I was looking at a photo of myself in New York, and my hair was like above my ears, like all the way around, and I kind of had this like croppy bowl look, and I was like, dang, should I go back to that? It makes my head look longer, which is like, that's always fun, right? Long head. I canceled public pool, says Eddie, when I learned as a kid that it was a common practice for other kids to pee in them. I was very well aware of the pee, and I still got in. I don't know. I think, I think people should be clean, but I think that there was kind of, uh, um, my life as a child was not very clean. It was pretty dirty, you know. I was like getting into wild stuff, you know. Climbing on jungle gyms, like monkey bars, sitting on swing sets, you know, you're just doing stuff, and nothing's really clean. So, like, I don't necessarily have the preoccupation to be super super clean, or like germophobia. Although I respect the people that do have it, um, and even in light of current events, I still have not become more. I'll say I've taken precautions, obviously, you know, wearing a mask and stuff like that, being clean, because of the state of the world. But if I'm being honest, I don't think that it has messed up my like psyche. It feels like I'm adapting to a situation. That's what it feels like. Um, yeah, I feel like I'm just adapting to a situation, and if this situation alleviates itself, I'm not saying I'm gonna like roll around and like mud wrestle strangers like in the street, but I feel like, you know, most things I'll be able to slide back into. If you'll mistake the like the, I guess the vocabulary I'm choosing for whatever reason, I'll be able to slide right back into business as per usual. But I mean, it will be weird for sure at the beginning. Even when I went and hung out with a friend Monday, I went and got boba and hung out with a friend, and the entire time we were hanging out, like we were never like, you know, they were pretty far from me. I could hear them fine. And that's actually the friend that I was talking to about the Matrix scene. And we like go to the park, and um, that was kind of it. It was it. And when we left, it was kind of this weird thing because usually I'll give them a hug, but I didn't, obviously, this time. And it was like, it wasn't really a big deal. It wasn't awkward or anything. I was just like, all right, well, bye now. And left them. But I think once this is all over, I think I will feel okay giving them a hug again. I mean, they might not. I understand that this is going to take a toll on a lot of people. Um, but I think I'll probably be able to, you know, snap right back into hugging people. Things like that. I'm not going to go around, like, licking payphones, but, yeah, I'll probably, you know, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. And I feel bad for the people that won't. That this is, because this is definitely going to affect a lot of people mentally. Maybe for the rest of their lives, right? Um, Crap, I haven't been reading the stream. I feel bad. Like young kids might be more traumatized by this than adults, for sure, right? Because they don't have as much maybe to compare it to, right? I talk about this all the time, Liana. I guess Liana and friends. I always talk about how like I'm very happy about the time I've existed in. Like I'm glad that I can remember a world before a lot of things and remember living through the thing, and now can hopefully adapt to and be cognizant of living after the thing. I feel like sometimes people only really get to live after the thing. For example, all of my flying, like I've said this before in the stream a million times, but all of like my flying time has been post 9. Um, wow, baby's frozen. Baby's big frozen. Anyways, oh wait, am I gonna be frozen forever? Anyways, I guess not. I guess I'm not frozen anymore. Yeah, anyways, all of my flying time, all my travel time has been post 9/11, so I only live in the post 9/11 world. However, people that are older, my parents, can remember when it wasn't that way. They lived through the thing, and now they know the post. So, in Liana's words, I do feel bad for, like, maybe people that are young. Even if you're not that young, like you're in, like, junior high or, like high school, still, this could be, a little bit more impactful on you than it is on me. As an adult. Might be a good thing to keep in the back of your psyche, honestly, because they're good habits. Says Chibi. I don't know exactly what habits you're talking about. I was specifically talking about not being able to hug my friend. But, I really. Wait, hold on. Oh, Alpha's leaving. Bye, Alpha. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. God, there's a lot of it left. Oh my God, the chat's so big. I'm gonna try to like power scroll through this. Actually reading them though. I think kids will remember this as a rude childhood moment, not so much trauma unless they are directly affected. Good point, Eddie. Actually, I mean, I was a child for 9/11. Granted, I didn't live in New York City, so I wasn't as affected as maybe the kids are being affected by this. So, but that is a very good point. When I was a kid, a lot of really messed up stuff happened, and some of it did affect me, and some of it I didn't even realize it was happening. So, the fact this won't be over until 2021. I'm sick of it here, says Dar. Take me literally anywhere else. Well, I appreciate that sentiment, but there are some places I would rather not be right now. There's a pretty long list of them. Most of my friends' children seem to be dealing with this pandemic better than the adults I know. Good points. Good points, Soothsayer. It's hard on adults because we old enough to process the old situation. Also a very good point, Eddie. There are people who will not stop quarantining. Well, for sure, Diz. Also a good point. There are people who will not. You know what's funny? The stream actually runs worse when I'm on my Wi-Fi than when I'm on my data. I think that's why the stream is running bad, is because I'm actually connected to Wi-Fi. But anyways, there are people who will not stop quarantining. I talk about that a lot, actually, Diz, like with friends. I always talk about how, like, even after this is over, there's a vaccine out, and we like move on to whatever, 2025. I think there are still going to be some people that wear masks, that weren't doing it before, just because yeah. Most adults dealing with this are acting like children, says Alpha. What's Texas? Some heavy, if anything has traumatized me, it's the response of people in the government. That's probably a better thing, right? Because we've dealt with diseases before, but rather maybe the people's response to it seems a little bit more impactful. And there are people who have never taken it seriously. Yeah, there are the extremes, right? People who will quarantine forever, and there's people who never actually started quarantining. Hey, what's up, Mobtown? I was talking about the pandemic as a whole. Oh, Chibi Lucy. I just want to let you know I have read your comment. That clarified the previous comment. Yeah, that's true. I mean, some people were like absolutely disgusting maybe before this, and maybe you don't like go around staying 6 feet away from people, and not being able to hug or whatever. But maybe you have, maybe you wash yourself more often. Maybe you cover your mouth when you sneeze. I mean, there's some really nasty people out there. I'm talking like bare minimum So yeah, maybe this helps those people. I'm feeling for you Americans, though, says Eddie. We're creating a new normal. Jayla says, I seriously hope masks become more common after all this. You know what's really funny? I've said this before in the stream, but I live in a predominantly Asian area. And so there's people wearing masks all the time. Like, you know, when I moved here in 2015, like all of the old people in my neighborhood that would like go out for their morning walks were always wearing masks. And a lot of people that like worked in boba places were wearing masks too. So I'm not going to say that there was no change because it is a significant change in my neighborhood, but it is kind of funny that when the mask thing like came out, everybody was acting like, "What are these things? Like these are just for surgeons." And I'm like, I see those all the time, like discarded on the sidewalk sometimes. But yeah, they're all over the place. Mobtown says Japan, China, and most Asia. Yeah, well, wow, wow. Sometimes I should like not talk actually and just read people's and get to the bottom of the chat because I feel like sometimes my sentiments are either mirrored or sometimes preempted by people in the stream. But yeah, pretty common in Asia. I'm drawing while listening, so maybe I'm missing stuff. It's okay, Chibi Lucy. At least you're creating. That's kind of fun. People who cough like toddlers deserve to be under the jail, says I sure hope cons have squeaky clean neck beards going forward. Come on, Liana. Come on. First of all, low blow. Second of all, you know they're not going to be, you know. If anything, cons might be nastier. Cons might be nastier after this. Guarantee there will be people who attack those who still wear masks after all this is over. Guaranteed. Yeah, that's a guaranteed, Dar. The media will frame it as masked people personally accosting non-masked people, causing them to attack. Yeah, it will be masks and unmasked. It'll be like, what was that thing? Batman? Eddie says, what's that? Eddie's looking for Chibi Lucy's Instagram. Chibi Lucy has really good SEO because apparently Chibi Lucy also brings up the Instagram. Yeah, cons are so disgusting. Cons are disgusting, but why did I say but? There was no second half to that statement. Cons are absolutely disgusting. Some of the filthiest environments I've ever been to are cons and con parties and shows. Granted, I am a musical performing artist, so these are, and I was also a weeb at one point, so these are two places that I know very well. So I'm sure there's a lot of nasty places elsewhere. Yeah. Umbe says, yeah, absolutely going to be grosser after all this. Can we hold cons digitally now? Some cons have been doing digital things, you know, having like streams, live streams and stuff like that, and holding conferences and stuff like that. Like some cons have been switching over to that, but I don't know how profitable digital cons will be. Because I feel like people will just find a way to record all of the stuff that happens and then just put it up, and then people will be like, yeah, I'll just wait until the day after the con and then I'll go to the con. One of those type deals. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid, but I always I never underestimate profit margin recession, I guess, when things go digital. Okay, Chibi's behind the stream. Fans can never meet their idols anymore. They shouldn't be able to. As a fan of things and people, maybe I should never be able to meet those people. OmniPlants be like, I don't vibe with the music and just die, says Crow. What are you talking about? We're dismantling capitalism, so it shouldn't be a huge issue. I feel like we're dismantling. Period. I feel like the country is in a state of dismantling. We should retire the concept of fan. Stop idolizing people. Well, while a good concept, I do want to make a really stupid split here between fan and stans. I think stans are the one doing the idolizing. I think fans just like the thing. I'm a fan of cheese. even though it's poison for my body. But I don't know that I idolize it. Stans though, we should. It would be really cool if we could stop Stan Hood, but if anything, Stan is going in the opposite direction. It's getting more extreme. This says, "Don't meet your heroes." I feel. I feel that, but at the same time, all of my heroes. I've never met any of my heroes. Huh, whoa. And there you have it. So, I guess I can't weigh in on this. Sorry. There's a difference between celebration and idolization. I agree with this, Eddie. I don't understand how anyone can be a stan. It's so much work. I used to say this too, Jayla. I used to say this, but I get it. I get it. Ooh. I think stanhood is. Oh, we're talking about stans now. I didn't want to do this. I think stanhood is a time of peace, a time of love. I think here no. Those were jokes. I think stanhood is a reduction of self and an injection of that self into another thing or person. Wow. Okay. So I've talked at length about how a lot of my self-worth is tied to my art. This isn't like a therapy session. This isn't supposed to be bringing the attention to myself, but I'm using that as an analogy, right? So a lot of my self-worth is tied to my music. So if I make music and everybody says that music's garbage, I feel like maybe I'm a little bit garbage because that's what I've tied my self-worth to. The only difference is that instead of a stan tying their self-worth to their art, they've tied it to a completely separate being. So if somebody says, like Jimin from BTS is trash, that person does feel offended. You can really attach your self-worth to anything, I suppose. You know, you can attach your self-worth to your ability to cook or the color of your skin. You can attach your self-worth to the amount of acne that's on your face. I don't know. I guess you could tie it to anything. Tying it to a completely different being, especially one that's like projecting a performative fake image, is kind of a slippery slope, but you know, go do your thing, Stance. As an artist, it's my art, which is an issue, though, but I was very self-aware about it. Same. I mean, that's why I was able to just talk about it. I'm very self-aware about where my self-worth lies. And I guess that's the first step, right? That's, what is it called? That's the hardest part. Admitting you have a problem. Thomas says, well, I wasn't expecting facts this morning. I don't know what you were expecting. If you're expecting a morning medley, you missed half of it, but there's still more medley to be had, Thomas. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Thomas, and good morning. I hope you're doing okay. My philosophy, says Dar, is you are not your art, but your art is very much you. What a beautiful sentiment. Dar, yes, that's very, very true, and I love it. I probably don't live by those words. I definitely don't live by those words, but I agree with them, if that makes sense. But projecting on your art is more reliable and healthier than projecting on someone that doesn't even know you exist. Absolutely true, Eddie. It's not black and white. There are shades. There are shades to this. Oh, wanting. Oh, wanting. Thomas, meet the other Tom. Womtang's been around for a very long time. Hi, Tom. Thank you. I appreciate you. That's going to a very, very delicious pizza today. It's pizza day for me. Omni, do you watch anime? No. No? I saw a trailer for a new Netflix anime yesterday called... I don't remember what it was called, but I think I might watch that. Just because, like, the trailer was on my phone, and I watched the trailer, and now I feel invested, so I might watch that. But I would not... I don't feel comfortable saying yes to do you watch anime, because I feel like usually there's follow-up questions to that question that I don't have answers for. Sorry for minutes to stream. Now we're here. Truly started from the Instagram stream. I love Womtang. I love Womtang mostly because even though I'm looking at it spelled Tom Wang, it was spelled Womtang on Instagram, and that's forever solidified in my head as your name. But I appreciate you for stopping by every now and then. I really do. What are you talking about, Crow? Sorry. I talk so fast and like jump subjects. Sometimes you'll respond to something and I actually don't know. Unless like Jeopardy, the answer is in the question. I have no idea what you're talking about. Um Good luck with your work issues, Mobtown. Nothing too much happened. Did you watch the Lovecraft TV shows? I have issues with it, says Eddie. I did not watch them, so I can't have issues with it. Jayla says, was it Seven Deadly Sins? No, it was not Seven Deadly Sins. Let's be honest, no one watches anime. True things, true things. No one watches it. People live anime, right? Is that where you're going, Cyber? People don't watch it, they live it. Most people call me Womtang IRL anyway. That's beautiful, actually. That makes me feel better. I didn't have any follow-up questions. I was just curious. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, yeah, I watch I watch tons of anime. All of them. You name it. If it's out, I've seen it. Hey, what's up, Good Cup Soup? Do you still find time to play video games? Beautiful question. Oh, can we give that question an award? I gotta come up with an award system. This isn't Twitch. I have to do everything myself. I'm gonna come up with an award system for good questions. Somebody give me an inanimate object. All right. Water for the win today. Why is Mom Tom just saying no? No, somebody give me an inanimate object. Pizza. Okay, that question gets 3 pizzas. I'm gonna say 3 out of 5 pizzas. It's really hard scale, I guess. But no, the reason I like that question is because you didn't say, do I play video games? You said you still find time to play video games. Because yes, as an adult, you do have to literally schedule time to play video games. Sometimes. I know everybody's life is different. I personally do have to schedule for example, that game Ghost of Tsushima, I've owned it for quite a while now. It's just sitting in my living room. I haven't even taken that thin plastic wrap stuff off of it because the time that I have scheduled to play Ghost of Tsushima is this Saturday. I'm playing it this Saturday morning, and until then, yeah, it's just gonna sit there unless I break schedule, which isn't unlike me. Soup. Why do people say soup? Oh my goodness. Anyways, that question minus 3 pizzas. That was beautiful. Oh yeah, I have to schedule it though. I have to schedule it. The only time that I'm playing video games when I haven't scheduled the time is when I'm very depressed, and I'm not somehow today. So that's pretty cool. Oh, an acceptance speech. Can everybody give us an acceptance speech from now on? I actually wrote an acceptance speech for when I was going to win a Grammy, which is hilarious because I don't want to speak negativity into the universe, but that's just not gonna happen. If I ever win any mainstream award, it'll probably be an Oscar for scoring something. It will definitely not be a Grammy. Anywho, well, that's interesting that you would schedule time for yourself like that. Yeah, Diz, it's hard. Think about it this way, Diz. I'm gonna answer your question soon, Eddie. Diz, the stream is scheduled, right? The stream is scheduled, right? Why am I asking you? You're in a stream that was scheduled. So the stream is scheduled. It happens 9 a.m. every weekday morning. When I didn't have a stream schedule, there would be days that would go by, sometimes a whole week, where I just wouldn't touch this keyboard. It would actually collect dust. Now, oh my god, this is actually a really good question. I like this question. Because there is, when I play the bass here notes, you guys can't see it, but there's little dust bunnies stuck in here, inside the grates of these speakers that sometimes dance around in the cone of the speaker. Now, the reason that it has collected so much dust is because it wasn't being played very often. If you're playing it pretty often, Whatever dust is settled in there just gets completely blown out by the speakers. But I wasn't actually playing this keyboard very often before streams. I would play this keyboard when it was time to make music, or when I was in the mood to mess around, and fiddle on the keyboard, which wasn't too often. I don't have a practice schedule, but giving myself the stream schedule forces me to play piano at least to like an hour. I say I play for maybe an hour in the stream, and then I'm talking for an hour, 5 times a week. Like 5 hours, like maybe 5 or more hours a week now I'm playing piano because of the stream. But if I didn't have to stream, I'm not saying I would never play piano, but I would play it very irregularly. Um, and this is true for just about everything, even eating. Like, for example, oh wow, I mean, I don't know if you work out or anything, but I have like a workout schedule. I have a schedule that like at 8:50 every morning I have to make my fruit smoothie, or else I'm not reliable enough to do it. Outside of the schedule. I make sure that I have a production stream every Friday. If I didn't have a production stream every Friday, especially with quarantine and how I've been feeling lately, I probably just wouldn't produce music. I would just like hang around. The Friday stream, if I'm being honest, guys, that 6 hour stream is really helping me stay active mentally as far as like making new songs and mixing without the pressure of having to release things or come up with an album. And so video games are the same exact way. If I don't schedule time to play video games, I'll not play them for a really long time, and then I'll like binge a bunch of video games, and then I'll not play them for a while. So usually I'll have like a list, kind of like how people will have like a must-watch movie list. I have a must-play video game list. Video games that have been recommended by people that know me well enough to be able to recommend things. And then when I have scheduled video game time, I'll play them. Um, yeah, and sometimes I won't have a game to play. Like sometimes my scheduled video game time in the past was just like hop on Apex Legends for an hour or two, or get on Overcooked with a friend and like just mess around. Anyways, a song about dust bunnies would be great. Says Good Old Cup of Soup. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Actually, I've been proven that people thrive on routine. Actually, it's been proven that people thrive on routine. I mean, that makes sense, right? Circadian rhythms and whatnot. It makes sense that people would, I mean, the world is built around patterns, so it would make sense that people would need them. Humans are designed to seek out patterns, says Diz. Wow. See, again, I really shouldn't talk. I gotta get to the bottom of the thing because I do feel like you guys say whatever I'm gonna say. I thrive on the illusion of routine, says, oh, the illusion of it. That's nice. How many can you play Bon Bon, says Crow? I can play a version of it. Yes, yeah, I can do that. I just binged a video game, something I haven't done in a while because I needed to escape mentally for a minute. Word up, escapism is a thing. I got a Hatsune Miku video game, I think at like the beginning of quarantine for that reason. That was fun. Wow, that's weird. A flash in the pan. I bought that game and I got like 100 songs for it, and then I just played all of those songs until I beat every single song, and then I haven't touched it since, so. Sorry, Hatsune Miku. You had a whirl last weekend. Let's party up and play Fall Guys on me. You'd appreciate it. Oh yeah, Fall Guys, isn't it free this month? I'll grab it. I'll actually grab it because I have been putting that off. So, sick. I'll do that. I need a version of Jolly Pop, says Mobtown. Oh my god. Those were really weird notes anyway to play on like a piano. Yeah, what Cyber said, Good Old Cup of Soup. It's, like PlayStation, PSN has like a free game or two every month. This is the, or two. Fall Guys is one of them. Or else I probably wouldn't play it. No offense to anybody who likes that game or played that game. It didn't seem interesting enough for me to spend money on. So this is a great time for me to hop in before the month ends. Jolly Pop is probably my favorite song you wrote, says Mobtown. Jesus. Laptop and mobile only. It's free Jayla on PlayStation. Guys, PlayStation. It's one of the PSN has like a game or two every month that is free for PSN people. And this month it's like Fall Guys and I think like Call of Duty or something like that. Oh, it's getting warm in here now. Here it comes. Here it comes that excessive heat warning. Okay. I think I'm gonna go make some lunch now. Bye, Lindsay. Enjoy your lunch. Um, enjoy. Jolly Pop is probably my favorite song that you wrote. Mobtown. I'm glad. You know, Jolly Pop was originally supposed to be submitted. Actually, it was submitted. It was submitted and it was turned down by Maltine Records, which was like my dream label to release on at the time. I remember being so brokenhearted about that. In present day, I'm glad, or rather, am I glad? In present day, I realize now that I would have built up enough power and influence that it would have been fine as a self-release, as you can see it was. I mean, you heard it, you liked it. But at the time, I remember it being like, oh, it's so devastating. But that song is very old. So, I'm glad that I did make that song for you, Mobtown, for you personally, because I don't make songs like that anymore. Those are weeb tracks, and I'm just not there mentally or emotionally anymore. And so I'm glad that I was able to get that out and it connected with you on that level. That's actually really cool. Because, yeah, I don't even know that I enjoy that song anymore. It's just it just doesn't go anywhere. And at the time, it's funny, I can remember really trying to make that song go somewhere, and I was frustrated because I couldn't do the thing I wanted to do. That song was kind of a failure to me, mentally and creatively. And if anything, that should be proof to you that if you fail at something, I mean, nobody else knows that. Clearly, you listened to the song, you liked it. It didn't sound like a failure to you. But even when I listen to that song now, it feels like it. Trying to get to the bridge. Actually, no, it's yeah. Have you heard the song Paprika, Mobtown, by the way? Ooh, that song definitely won't open on Fruity Loops today. That is truly a catastrophe, how many of my old songs I lost. That song successfully did a thing that I tried to do in Jolly Pop's bridge, and I couldn't make it happen. But the funny thing is when I go back and I listen to both Jolly Pop and Paprika, because those are early songs. You know, Paprika predates Nice Dream, and Jolly Pop also predates Nice Dream. I know Jolly Pop appears on Nice Dream, but it was actually just a single, and then I decided to make more songs like it, and then I just kind of sandwiched them together and called it an EP, like most people seem to do on SoundCloud or did at the time. But um, they were trying. I was trying to do a thing. I would say a good example of what I was trying to do with Jolly Pop is. I guess I didn't release that song, so I can't use that as an example. Whoa. Whoa. This is weird. I was. Huh. Alright. I was trying to do. If you've heard the song Midnight Drift 2, I was trying to do that for the bridge. I was trying to do that in the context of Nice Dream stuff, but I just wasn't there yet as a creator. Make a pop song and then make a bridge that's like really, really wonky and fun and jazzy. But when I go back and I listen to those, I can hear my limits. I can hear where I was limited, and I was mostly limited in harmonic experience. This is unimportant maybe to anybody but Mobtown, but I was inexperienced. So when I got to the bridge of like Jolly Pop, when I got to the bridge of Bon Bon, when I got to the bridge of a lot of these songs, except for maybe Sugar Glider, I lucked out with Sugar Glider. When I get to the bridge of a lot of these songs, I was trying to come up with cooler, more tense, jazzy chords, and I just didn't have I didn't have the experience to be able to do that. So a lot of those chords you're hearing was just like me randomly moving MIDI notes around with my mouse and going like, does this sound cool and tense or surprising? So a lot of the complexity in the bridges of those songs comes from syncopated rhythms and breaks. Like breaks happen a lot in those songs. Whereas if you take the bridge in a song like Suspended in Love, there are not really any breaks, not really a lot of syncopation. There's a polyrhythm for a second, but for the most part, it was like I knew what I was doing. I knew where the more complex chords were. It's always interesting. That's why I kind of encourage people to release music, or not even music, like art. Let me not limit it to music. I always encourage people to put out as art like as much as possible. Maybe you put it out under a side project name, or maybe you put it out on like a private page. But like release, like choose to be done with a song, and then put it out in a place where it can no longer be edited, because it's really important for your growth to be able to look back on something and see not only what it is, but what it was supposed to be to you. Because you hear Jolly Pop, and Jolly Pop just sounds like Jolly Pop. But when I hear Jolly Pop, I can hear not only what Jolly Pop sounds like, but what I wanted it to sound like. And I can also go throughout my own like longevity as a career and pick out songs later after Jolly Pop that were closer to or exactly on the mark that Jolly Pop was supposed to be. Now, a lot of people will listen to their music and think, this isn't good enough, this isn't, the goal I wanted it to sound like, so they just won't release it, and they'll keep gestating on this one idea. But if you don't give yourself kind of like a timeline of immovable, concrete decisions, like snapshots of you, it's hard to make informed decisions about the thing that you're working on now, because this thing will just never be finished. It would be almost like if you didn't have any photos of yourself ever. Like sometimes looking back on photos, just like I talked about earlier in this stream, I look back on that photo of me in New York City where my hair was a little bit shorter. It was like above my ears. It was like more of like a bulby cut. I look back at that haircut, and it's informing a lot of my opinions on my hair length today. I'm able to see exactly how much my hair did grow or how long it is, and maybe that I want to go back there to that. I could, it's just taking those snapshots of yourself artistically, I think is super important in your growth as an artist. And I think a lot of people just want to improve. They want to be the best they can possibly be, and then release that stuff. But there's this weird thing where you don't really get worse. Not, at least as far as like knowledge and experience, you can't get worse. So you're always improving. You're always going to be the best you can be. So just put those things out, because you're going to improve right after. You're going to improve right after. You're never going to get to a point where you put out something and you look back at it and go like, That was the best of my ability and always will be. I have nothing to say that can improve this idea. You're always going to grow. So just try to encourage people to put out a lot of stuff. Whatever that means, whatever put out means to you. But I encourage people to like stop working on a piece of work, say that this is finished and this is out, and then grow and move on. If I didn't put out those songs, guys, if I didn't put out Nice Dream, my sound would probably still be like that. And I'm glad that it's not. I would never want to put out anything that sounded like Bon Bon. Not today. Goodbye, Thomas. Thank you for being in the stream. Appreciate you. Um, yeah. Chiba Lucy says, absolutely. For any medium, it upsets me when people throw away, delete their old works. Even if you hate it, at the time, you're going to regret it later. It's just really important. It's just really important. A lot of people, this kind of in a weird way connects to our industry plant conversation from yesterday, but a lot of people think that when you go out on stage it has to be so good, or when you put out your first song it has to sound so good, because a lot of times they're looking at people who are, you know, I'm not going to use the word industry plant, I'm just saying they're looking at people that are a lot bigger, and they're like, wow, you know, friggin' Ariana Grande's first concert, like, it's sold out, and like, look at, there's pyrotechnics, and like, look at her outfit. For my first show, it's got to be great, and it's like, no, it doesn't. It just doesn't. That's not real. You're real. So like, in real life, if I showed you guys, which I have, by the way, I've like held up my laptop and showed you like early shows I played. It wasn't great. You know, we were playing in a venue that's roughly the size of my apartment for a crowd of maybe 25 people. And that was like a good show. Like when 25 people packed into that place, it felt, you know, might as well have been Warped Tour, as far as I was concerned. So just allow yourself to have a narrative. Stop trying to make like your entire story just one big punctuation of like, wow, successful. Just, you know, allow yourself to grow. Anywho, this says, some art teacher told me you should never throw away art. As a smart teacher. They definitely deserve to be in that position. Yeah, it doesn't have to be so good. Like Cypher says. Shout out to Chibi Lucy for my new profile pic. Ooh. In California, I don't think you can afford to use pyrotechnics. Y'all got enough fire, says Diz. That's funny. Yeah, California is always burning. That's not to trivialize or minimize the people that are being evacuated and like homes that have burned, but I was not born here, guys. I've only lived in California for close to 6 years now. And even before I moved here, every year, guys, fires. Every year, tons of fires. Every year there's fires. And I feel so bad because I have been somewhat desensitized to the fires. Even when they were happening down here in Santa Clarita, which was very close to me, if you understand the geography of LA, it's like, it's never directly affected me because I don't live up in the hills or anything like that, but it is like, yeah, the state burns every year. There's fires all the time. It's hard. It's hard to, it's hard. I don't know. There's always fires. Give me an earthquake. That's what I want. Give me a big, shake and bake. I'm tired of burning. It's too hot. Do you think if an earthquake came, somehow the shaking would make us cooler? Would, like, give us, like, a breeze or something like that? Jesus, it's hot down here. Anyways, this says that they have family that's near it. I also have some family that's near it. Oh, wait. Well, no, not anymore. I did for a little bit. My sister lived up there, but my sister has recently moved, so she's no longer next to the fires. I think movement usually generates heat. Sorry, Omni, says GB Lucy. It's okay, GB. Thanks for bringing the truth. Mom made Shake and Bake and I Help, which is a very, very good reference to an old Shake and Bake commercial. I reference that commercial a lot, Cyber. However, I just add the "and I helped" on the end of any of my friends saying that they have accomplished a task that I had nothing to do with. Usually I'll add "and I helped" to 0 laughs because nobody knows what commercial I'm talking about. Leanna says, then we'll have... Okay. So, what Liana says is hilarious. Because Liana says around a big one plus fires. Big one is just a thing. If you don't live in California, big one's just a thing a lot of people say, which is supposed to be like the big one. We're all preparing for the big one, which is like the earthquake that, I don't know, cracks the earth in half like a freaking egg. But everybody always talks about the big one. However, I speed read that, and all I saw was the Ronabig part, which looked like Ronald, and then I saw plus fries, and I was like, oh, it's a McDonald's thing. Liana's making a McDonald's joke. Like, then we'll have a Ronald plus fries. And the thing that Liana said was way funnier than the McDonald's thing. So thank you, Liana. Yeah, I want the big one. I mean, I say that all the time. I feel like it's really insensitive because earthquakes kill like tons of people. And there was like the big San Francisco earthquake, right? That was like super devastating. There was the San Fernando earthquake, also super devastating. But like, there's some like, I'm gonna go ahead and just like openly refer to it as sick. There's some like sick part of my brain that wants things to happen. Not, it doesn't always have to be bad, you know. Sometimes I just want events. I want like an event that makes everybody kind of like stop fighting for 2 seconds and like look at the event and go like, whoa, what? Oh, that's weird, right? Like I like it when we all can react to something. There's always this experience on a subway. For those of you that live in cities with subway, you'll totally understand what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't live on cities with subways, just sub in the word bus every time I say subway, and you'll probably be able to get it. But like, there's this experience on a subway a lot of the times where you're with a lot of people you don't like, maybe people you actively don't like, maybe people that are loud or stink or they're offensive or they're insulting or whatever. They're harassing you. You don't really want to be on the subway. You all just need public transportation, so you're around a lot of people you don't care for. But then something will happen. Maybe somebody gets on the subway with a guitar and starts playing. Maybe somebody starts breakdancing. Maybe somebody starts throwing up. But something will happen on the subway, and you all, now this like community of people that you don't really care about, you'll all like be united in your reaction to this thing. Like maybe you'll look at each other and make eye contact and go like, maybe you won't even say anything. Maybe you'll just, it's just with the eyes. You're just kind of like, oh man, is he really going to start playing the guitar? Ah, he's playing the guitar now. Like somebody gets on, they have like tons of like luggage and bags, and they're like holding the subway door open for their kids, and it's just like, oh, great, cool, visitors and tourists. And you kind of all react to this one thing. Sometimes that feels good. I feel closer to my community when we can all just react to a bad thing that's happening. And sometimes I want an event just because I feel like whenever there's an earthquake, the people in California are kind of, for a split second, drawn together. We kind of all like react to the earthquake, and for a second we forget about all the other stuff. It's very fast. It's very fast. It's over very quickly, and then we'll start being at each other's throats, right? It's like when a pandemic was coming, and for a second everybody was like, "Oh my goodness," and then we were just kind of like at each other's throats again over like masks and stuff. But it was kind of cool for a second to think that humanity was almost united. I think Cyber's talking about Armageddon, talking about a huge explosion. Uh, wait, I think Cyber's, never mind. Cyber's just explaining how an earthquake works. Yeah, earthquakes are wild. That's an event I don't want. Our houses aren't even equipped with AC. The big one is gonna wreck everything. That's funny, Leanna. I would like to be able to go to my landlord and be like, hey, so, I don't have air conditioning, but like I could survive an earthquake, right? Because I think I know how that conversation's gonna go. I'm probably gonna get evicted just for talking to them. Nobody says waiting for aliens to attack. Only way we get a nosedive humanity is in. I think that if aliens attack, if I'm being honest, I think I already know how aliens attack goes. I think that there's alien killers, and then I think there's alien sympathizers, and somehow humans are still going to kill each other. They're going to be like, you're with the aliens, and then they're going to start killing each other. That's how I think the alien attack would go. And then it would be very, very easy for the aliens. Aliens are my biggest fear. Outer space freaks me out, dude, says GB Lucy. So I'll pass on the alien invasion. That's a cool fear to have. We are probably alone in the universe as it is, which I agree with. Did the stream die or is it just me? It might just be you, Eddie, although I'm not sure. I don't really think so because it's so big, says Chibi Lucy, talking about the prospect of us being alone in the universe. Yeah, the consensus is that we shouldn't, in theory, be alone. Yeah, but I think we are still. Good old cup of soup, waiting on Dragon Girls to exist. I want hugs, says good old cup of soup, assuming that if Dragon Girls did exist, they would give hugs and not swift death. This says life can mean microorganisms, though. Could be space germs. I feel like there are space germs. Haven't we confirmed space germ? Have we not confirmed space germ yet? I thought we did. If we haven't, wow, NASA, get on that, I guess. Wow, if aliens show up and they're hostile, then we die. But the Independence Day narrative is fun to think about. I agree. It is fun to think about. Mobtown's roommate freaked out because they put a framed picture of Cthulhu in the bathroom. What kind of Cthulhu are we talking about? Like a like a like a cute cartoon drawing, like a realistic 3D rendering of Cthulhu? What kind of was it color? This stuff matters. This stuff matters. Because it could have not been scary. Remember when everybody tried to make Cthulhu cute? And there was like little Cthulhu plushies and stuff like that? Why was that? Why was that a thing? The aliens would not survive in our atmosphere, says Diz, because there are germs that their immune system wouldn't be able to handle. This dips in a little bit too deep into the hypothetical. Because we, as humans, have come up with technology that allows us to survive in environments that would otherwise kill us. So why wouldn't aliens, especially if they made it all the way to Earth, they'd probably be okay. Maybe they would have suits or something, in the same way that we have suits when we go places like space that would normally kill us. I mean, it would be really funny to think that a race could make it light years to another planet with life on it, but then didn't have some very simple suit technology to survive on that surface, even for a few moments. I don't know. Again, hypothetical. All of this is super hypothetical. Old-timey realistic art. And he said, I don't want Cthulhu watching me poop. I don't see why not. Cthulhu's not real. No space germs yet, says Umbe, but life at the bottom of the ocean and other dangerous to life places make that also pretty likely. I agree with this, Umbe. Aliens are most likely far, says Eddie. Do you know how crazy it is that we even exist? Pretty crazy, Eddie. That's happened in the War of the Worlds movie, says Diz. It is what happened in the War of the Worlds movie, which is a movie. So I'm gonna... yeah, I mean, it is a movie. By the way, oh, actually, Diz, I don't know which War of the Worlds you're talking about. I assume you're talking about the remake. But if you're talking about the original War of the Worlds, that movie was actually shot in my neighborhood. There's an entire huge scene in that movie that takes place in my neighborhood. Like, I can, like, literally 5 minutes away from my apartment. So, that's pretty cool, right? Anyways, Mobtown says, I love H.P. Lovecraft stories, but too bad the dude's super racist. Yeah, pretty racist dude. We could be rare, but we don't know the recipe for Earth. Like, exists all over the universe. This is true. There's no way to really know, is there? Cthulhu is always watching you poop, says Liana, which is true. I guess if Cthulhu was real, you wouldn't be able to hide from him simply by taking down a photo. I think most things happen at least twice, says Chibi Lucy, which is so wild. I love that. Chibi Lucy, I know that wasn't maybe necessarily supposed to be profound, but I do like that out of context. I think most things happen at least twice. It's actually a beautiful theory for life. I don't know that anything's only happened once. That's a very good point. I don't know it. I mean, I guess Chibi Lucy is trying to talk about like Earth, the concept of a habitable planet. But even outside of that, I'm with Chibi Lucy on that sentiment. Yeah, I think most things happen at least twice. But I've never heard that before. But I do like that. Which scene from War of the Worlds is it? You know the original one, right, Liana? You know the original one I'm talking about. Remember when they're like setting up the remember when they're setting up the like battlements, like the defenses, when they like go outside of the city and they're setting up the defenses and they're like in the hills. That's all. By the way, there's like mad houses and buildings there now. like, like, yeah, that's where I live. Isn't that dope? There's a whole neighborhood there. There's a lot of boba there, by the way, too. They didn't foresee that. They were trying to get ready for the aliens. They should have been trying to get ready to fight the boba. Boba came in. There's boba like, Jesus, there's boba everywhere here. I had some yesterday. When it was a radio show, people thought it was real. This is true, Diz. This is true. Goodbye, Theo. I hope you enjoy your time in class. That's so funny. I have to look. Oh no. Oh wow. Oh, they got him. Oh no. They got him. Oh no. Look, they got him, guys. I don't know if you can see how old this car is, but it's been there for a really long time. That car was there when I moved in. Anyways, I guess it's getting towed. That car, no joke, has been sitting there for 6 years. It has like so many parking tickets on it, like a book of parking tickets. It hasn't been like in the cul-de-sac. I was a little bit further down, but that's wild. There was like cats living in it for a second. Well, that's an exaggeration. There was a pregnant cat in it, and you know, smaller cats came out of that pregnant cat, and then they did leave. They didn't like set up shop in there, but that's wild. I don't remember what I was talking about, but yeah, goodbye car. That's so sad. Hmm. It's too late. I can't take the pic. He's gone. It's taking him away. Oh. Oh, wow. If he was a character in Cars, he'd be old. A little old man, coughing all the time. Maybe have a British accent. Yes, it's on the stream, so it's saved forever. I don't know what the song is, Eddie. Oh, maybe I can make that a thing. Maybe I can make just that. It isn't actually a song. It just goes. What's that sound like? Hmm. Yeah, it was Love Letters for a second, wasn't it, you Lucy? Does that sound like the ending of something or the beginning of something? It ends with the Final Fantasy art. It's funny. Something like that. Maybe both, like a transition, says Liana. Good old cup of soup says credits. Opening credits or closing credits? Rip monetization. That would be really funny if just that little second of it got like the stream killed as far as monetization. Um, Maybe with roads. Maybe. Maybe. Square Enix. I wish Square Enix knew my location. Maybe I could finally get some freaking work, right? Oh, that's sad. I was originally trying to turn it into a song. Maybe that's how I did used to want to have like an opening to the stream and a closing to the stream. I mean, technically we have them now, but I wanted to have like a medley, not a medley, but a melody that would open the stream, just like. Like I wanted to. Uh oh, the weed whackers are out. I wanted to have something like that, and then at the end to have something like that. But now Hush Hour kind of takes up the space for a closing of the stream, so I don't really have room for, an actual melody to be at the end because there's a whole song. If Day Day Mouse can be a part of some Final Fantasy remix albums, On Me Boy can be as well. Oh, Day Day Mouse. There. I don't have heroes. I don't have heroes, but I have. Here's what I have. Here's what I have. I have people who made things that I didn't think you could make, or were things that I didn't think you could be, and I didn't do the thing. I didn't make the thing or be the thing. I just saw them do the thing and went, "Wow, that's actually really cool." And then by coincidence or by the funnel of the music industry, I ended up somehow either meeting them or being associated with them or working on something with them. And it didn't diminish their it didn't dim- when you meet somebody or you work with somebody or you date somebody or you hang with somebody and then you think they're just whatever. I'm not as impressed anymore. Like, whatever fascination I have has diminished. They are just a human being. Whatever. I don't care anymore. I think that is the thing that happens. Rhodes is a very pretty sound uptown. That is the thing that happens. However, there is a pretty long list of people that has not happened for me with. Daedalus has been somebody that I've met and worked with on things, and I still hold a very a love for Daedalus outside of our personal relationship. Just as an artist, it's just like, I love that dude. He stands for a lot of things I believe in musically, which is weird. It gets really conceptual, right? But Day Day Mouse is one of those people too. Daedalus and Day Day Mouse are two people that look at it and I'm just like, yo, I'll still play songs from forever ago and go like, yeah, he did the thing. And I'll look at what they're doing now and I'm like, yeah, I'm still here for it. This is sick. Um, both, both great dudes, great art. Both people I don't really talk to anymore, like personally. Like I don't really like text them or anything. Maybe I should, but huge dudes. Those are kings in my eyes. Rhodes just do something to my soul, says Eddie. Yeah, I've talked in production streams, Eddie and Mobtown, about the conflict I have between Rhodes and piano. Because hold on, let me pause that. This says, does LA have like laws? Eyesore laws, like you can't leave your car in the lawn or something. Um, Not LA. Specific communities do. Diz like specific communities don't. Mine does not at the moment, but that is changing. But that had nothing to do with an eyesore. It was just a car that was just parked there for a really long time. In LA, you can't just like park your car places. Like a lot of places, it's like, you can only leave it there from like 8 to something or this time to this time. Or maybe you can't have your car there at all because street sweeping. So you can't really, in Los Angeles, in the city of LA, there aren't too many just curbs you can just park at indefinitely without moving, without getting a lot of tickets, or eventually, in the case of this car, getting towed. But the car had just been there for so long without getting towed that I think we being the community neighborhoods, just kind of assumed it wouldn't ever get towed. You know? And it wasn't like on the red. It wasn't in our cul-de-sac. It was like down a ways, so it's wild. Anywho, I feel like it's sometimes opposite, where I'm actually more impressed with people when I hang out with them. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. There have been some people, particularly people that work for Yamaha. This is not an indictment of people that work for Yamaha, but there have been some people that. Oh, it's about to get noisy. There have been some people that work for Yamaha, and I was honestly just like, oh, it's just some random like nerd who works for Yamaha. Who cares? And then I actually like sat with them, hang out, and talked with them, traveled with these people, and I'm like, oh, like homie's actually pretty cool. Like, my bad. And I've been more into them afterwards, Ooh, you can't have non-operational vehicles on the street without updated registration. This is a thing. Also, Liana, thank you. Liana, thank you. Yes. That's so dumb. If it's not operational, what good is the registration? It's just taking up space. It's taking up space. In a big city where every curb is like prime real estate, you gotta have a place to park. There's not enough parking. I think a vehicle that's not moving, that has not up-to-date registration, is viewed as like a waste of space. It's like people can be using this space. This is not a parking lot. This is a freaking street. And there's no places to park. If I get rid of this, I've just freed up space. I think it's literally that. This says get a garage, I guess. Yeah, that would be the solution. I mean, obviously, living in a bunch of apartments in a big city, nobody has a garage. So, it's hard. When you have a garage, it's like, whoa, you have a garage? You have a washer and dryer in your house? How fancy. I didn't know rich people lived in my neighborhood. But yeah, garage is definitely a luxury. How much is the average ticket, aka the one you had to pay for? Well, my ticket, which I still haven't paid for, because City Hall is only open in my neighborhood right now from 8 to noon. So yeah, I missed it because freaking I didn't know that their hours were so wild right now. But anyways, that makes sense. I understand the world I'm living in right now. So anywho, if I pay it right now, it's only $58, which I got lucky. Usually it's like 70 something. Pay right now, it's $58. If I pay it in 3 weeks, it's $113. So I'm going to pay it tomorrow because I will not be able to make it to City Hall in time today. I can just pay it online. I'll just do that. I'll pay it online today. But I would say the average just parking ticket here in LA ranges from $60, like $58, $60 to $80. I've got an $80 parking ticket in Hollywood. Yeah. Anywho, I don't remember what I was talking about before I showed that car. Um, Even when I came back afterwards. Oh, we were talking about being impressed with people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Daedalus. Such a beautiful song. Daedalus very impressive to me. Day Day Mouse very impressive to me. There's just been a few people that seem to exist in my mind, very firmly in their own lane and just have been very consistent. Like they never dipped out and were like, oh, maybe I should make dubstep now because that's the cool thing. Or people like trap now. Maybe I should make trap. Or people really like it when you're like cute on Instagram. Maybe I'll change my Instagram to be like cute. Like people that have just kind of remained themselves in a very ever shifting social scene and musical industry. I have a lot of respect for those people, even if it hasn't panned out particularly well for them professionally. I I like to see that. I like to see people being very genuine, even though I understand, that it comes with a price. Easydora is here. Good morning, Easydora. I never like going to the city because parking is so expensive as it is. I feel you. I don't drive for that reason. That's why I usually take the subway, which is why I was mentioning the subway earlier. For those people that live in LA, you know that the subway isn't dope. It's not like as nice as the New York subway. And when I say nice, you understand what I mean. So it's more, it makes more sense to drive. A lot of this can happen in the Bay too. Like the BART is pretty cool, but I wouldn't say that the BART is a substitution for a car because you can't get anywhere on the BART. But in both cases, a lot of people will take it just because they don't want to drive in the city and have to park in the city. It's a nightmare. It's very expensive and time consuming. This says the parking garage in their local area is $30 a month. That is hilariously cheap. Um, I mean, I've spent $30, especially in San Francisco. I spent $30 for parking for a time. I don't know. I think I was there for like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. I spent $30 for that. But yeah, a month is hilarious. Truly an experience. It sounds like. Went to the dubstep, to trap, to orchestral chiptune, and now lo-fi. I love making it now. Says Mobtown. Word up, word up, do you? I think that more so what I was talking about was a loss of self as instead of an exploration of self. Because even if we're looking at my messy, very messy, I mean, Mobtown, you brought up Jolly Pop earlier. I don't sound like Jolly Pop anymore. That was what that was. But I can honestly say that every stop on the oh no, I almost said it. Every stop on the Omni train has been authentic, where I was like, okay, I'm a weeb and I think that my music should sound like anime for reasons that aren't necessarily dope, but here's Nice Dream. And then I went through a breakup thing. Here's Love Dream because it seems to mirror what relationship I was in. I really, really like Initial D, and I want to make a short story, and so I wrote a short story and I made a score to that, and that was Speed Dream. Like they have all been like my choices, like Daydream, and usually, no, not even usually, always have been actually no, usually because Less Dream came out, and Less Dream I feel like people do like lo-fi hip hop. That'll just be forever popular as far as I'm concerned, lounge music. But all of the choices were kind of in opposition of whatever was really popular at the time. Like I didn't really have like a future bass EP when that was huge. I'm not making like rhythm now. I was just making whatever I really liked. And I feel like that's also true with the two people that I mentioned, Daedalus and also Day Day Mouse, have changed a little bit throughout their careers, but it has never felt to me like they were chasing a wave. It has always felt like um, another chapter in this kind of narrative that feels pretty authentic. Anyways, Mobtown says gave me ways to inspire my music in different ways, take bits from incorporate into the lo-fi genre. Word up, goodbye Chibi Lucy. Thank you for being on the stream and I appreciate you. Cyber says, question, footwork and juke is pretty popular in Japan and often considered synonymous, terms. Oh, footwork and juke, yes. But is that considered cultural appropriation or do people generally accept it as being a Japanese thing? Okay, well, because the same thing happened with Jersey, right? Remember when when Japan like fell in love with Jersey Club and everybody was just putting like bed squeaks in their songs and doing like that, and it was like it wasn't authentic Jersey Club music at all. It was like a completely different thing on its own, right? It's literally called Jersey Club, which most people in Japan have never been to New Jersey. I feel comfortable saying that just off the top of my head without having done any actual research. But when it comes to like footwork and juke also having their own origins, there's a lot of like really really strong footwork juke scenes in Detroit, Chicago. I feel like that is where. Anywho, sorry, talking more so about Japan. Japan making footwork and juke, and even like conflating the two terms. I understand um, where Japan is coming from. I feel like when we talk about cultural appropriation, I'm just going to go ahead and say that that is it, right? It is. It is cultural appropriation. But Japan has this really strange role. Ah, man. I don't want to talk about this. Footwork and Juke are from Chicago. I'm partially Owen down from Gabber, which is Russian, if I'm not mistaken. I don't. I don't feel confident agreeing on you with the connection to Gabber, but yes, Chicago and Detroit seem to have both contributed very, very wholly to actually a lot of genres, but we're not really going to necessarily get into that. I just want to say, no, it's cool, Cyber. I want to say Japan, and also by extension Korea, and even China a little bit, are so isolated from so many things that is a K-pop song having like a trap break in it while the people like walk around and almost like caricatures of what hip hop fashion is cultural appropriation. Yes, it absolutely is cultural appropriation. But I think that Americans are just very knowledgeable and a little bit more sensitive in a good way to cultural appropriation because all of our cultures are kind of here and in some way represented. So like if a if a white dude is walking around, piping and shouting random like black slang and is dressed in ways popularized by hip hop fashion and is calling himself a rapper and is being just generally culturally what we have, what the black, especially the African American community has provided, feels a little appropriative. And I think it feels appropriative because the black community has direct vision of this person. We're all occupying the same space, so it feels a little weird. Japan does so many wildly appropriative things, but there just isn't the representation, maybe, of actual authentic New Jersey club or actual authentic Chicago footwork music in Japan in a big way. There are some. There actually is some, I will say. There are some Chicago DJs and producers who have both visited, toured, and moved to Japan and talk very favorably about the footwork scene there. So it is appropriative, but I think that it's not malicious. And so I always kind of give Japan a pass, which, maybe be problematic, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit more later. But um, they're just so isolated. It's almost like when I was in Japan and like people were kind of racist to me. I did take a little bit of it in stride because I was like, there isn't a large enough community of black people in Japan for people to be culturally educated. That a lot of the information on black people comes from whatever is being ousted from like America and media. Sometimes it's not so good. In the same way that Jersey culture and Jersey club music was wholly experienced by Japan through SoundCloud, not through actually knowing people that made it, not from visiting New Jersey, not from actually researching the genre. It was just like, oh, this is a sick new rhythm, let me put that in my music. And so I would say that footwork and juke being really, really big in Japan feels appropriative, but it doesn't feel malicious. It feels like Japan, what always happens is it always feels like Japan just likes a thing. And again, Japan's a whole country. I'm not speaking for, millions of people, but it feels like Japan just likes a thing and then they try to make the thing. And they're not really thinking about the origins of the thing or where the thing came from or who made the thing or what the thing's narrative is. They're just kind of like, this food is good, I will make the food now. Or this music is good, I will now make this music and it'll be good because I appreciate how good the thing is. And so I try to take it at just that very surface level. They appreciate the thing, they're trying to make the thing. Um, and it kind of it makes it easier for me to like live with, I guess. Liana says when Drake put out the motto where he popularized YOLO, it definitely felt like appropriation of hyphy, even though he shot the video in the Bay and featured local artists. I mean, if we're talking about appropriation, Drake is, Drake is Drake. As somebody that has been watching a nonstop Degrassi marathon because my TV just showed, it has a channel, it's like a Pluto TV channel that just shows Degrassi. It's like shows all 385 episodes on the loop. I've been looking at a lot of Drake, and it's hard to look at that man without, being reminded of, yeah, how appropriative he has been. I mean, he is the industry. If somehow the industry could be embodied by a human man, it is him. And so whenever Drake does something that like appropriates like island culture or like African American culture, which I have to remind people he's not. So, anyways, he's not African American. Anyway, Eddie says Japan has its history of xenophobia though, and loving the culture but erasing people responsible for it is super frequent. Absolutely, Eddie. Absolutely. We here have been to Japan. I feel like almost everybody from the stream. I feel like anytime I talk about Japan, other people in the stream have Japanese stories. So I feel like we've all been there. We all know what it goes on. We know Japan's history also. We know about like the occupation of Korea. You know how they were going like cuckoo bananas on like China and stuff like that. We know. We know what Japan's all about. And so there is a little, there's a little crumb of that in their history. But I just feel like current day, if there's like a 17-year-old kid who's making Jersey Club or making footwork or sees me, walking down the street and maybe has not the best reaction, I feel like, their culture is just so isolated that they're not even given the opportunity to be educated on things. It's a lot harder for them. I always say this thing, this is going to sound wild to some of you, but I did actually... Oh, okay, so... Hold on, before I say this, let me get to the bottom of this. I haven't been to Japan, but I know a lot about it, says Liana. Word up. We're weebs here. Well, let me exclude myself from that. Americans did the same thing with indigenous people we used. Sure. Absolutely. Listen. I was like 17 or 18 before I knew that Filipino people were a thing. Now, my neighborhoods, I should say, because I did move in Arizona, just didn't have them. There wasn't like a Filipino community, really. There wasn't Filipino food. There was no Jollibee. There wasn't. It sounds like I'm making a joke. It does sound like I'm making a joke, and I totally get that. There was none of that. If I turned on the TV, there was no Filipino characters on cartoons I was watching. None of the Power Rangers were Filipino. Nobody was speaking Tagalog around me. Nobody was talking about anything. There was no like chicken adobo spot. It just wasn't a thing that existed in my community. So I didn't know. I mean, I knew that the country existed, but I didn't know what the people looked like. I didn't know what language they spoke. I couldn't point at it immediately on a map. I was just like, I don't know, it's over there somewhere. I didn't know, anything about them. I moved to Los Angeles a few years ago. There's Filipino people everywhere. A lot of my friends were Filipino around like 2013, right? On the internet and then in person, like people like Sean Wasabi or Bokeh or Mark Rodito. There's Manila Killa. There's a lot of people I know now that I'm friends with that are Filipino. But most of that experience with them as a culture has been very recent, a pretty small part of my life. Now, if I take that same experience and I enlarge it to Japan, where I know most people that live in Japan maybe look at TV and see black people, maybe they might meet a black tourist or something like that. But as far as actually having real experiences with black people on a daily basis, it's just not happening. It's not happening. So when I feel a lot of that xenophobia, I think it comes from just lack of education. Some people, even with opportunities to educate themselves, will remain to be, intolerant and racist or whatever. But it's hard. It's hard for me to judge those people when they haven't even had the opportunity to be educated. So I never felt more discriminated than in Japan, and I don't even. Oh, me and Isidore have talked quite a bit about our both of our experiences in Japan. It can be horrible. Um, it can be horrible. There was times where I was legitimately upset in Japan, which sucks to talk about, right? There have been times where I've been legitimately upset because of the way people were treating me, or the way people were looking at me, or the way people were talking to me, or the way people were treating my company who were Japanese that I was with. It's like it sucks a lot of times, but at the end of the day, I have to remind myself this is a very, very homogenous country. Most of the people there are Japanese. And I mean, even as far as like other Asian races being represented, it's pretty small. Talking about Filipino people, there aren't that many Filipino people in Japan. Uh, so a lot of their reactions to things, I get it. I don't think it's great, but it's like, yeah, if you haven't been educated and you're not being shown or offered opportunities to educate yourself regularly, yeah, uh, it doesn't make for the most, welcoming and tolerant and progressive environment. I have good old cup of soup. I have. Um, um, for sure, for sure. The thing I hate the most is you try talking Japanese and they even they even try to understand it. Yeah, there is a lot of like speaking. There's a lot of see. I don't want Isidora. I don't want to rag on Japan because we love Japan, right? But there is a lot of. I'm not even going to insert myself in this. There is a lot of brown person speaking very, very comprehensive, cohesive Japanese to a Japanese stranger in Japan, and the Japanese stranger pretending that they don't understand what you're saying. Even if another Japanese person were to say the exact same thing with the same inflection, same dialect, same everything, and they would understand it, they will intentionally try to like, whatever. Anyway, I don't want to complain about Japan. I don't want to complain about Japan. This all stemmed from footwork and juke, which I will say, Cyber, it does feel like cultural appropriation, but the conversation of cultural appropriation specifically in Japan always feels a little weird because Japan is not America. They don't have access to sometimes the origin of the culture, just like the people. The people are very necessary. You need the people there. If you have a bunch of black culture in a place, sometimes it helps to have black people there to just kind of like control the narrative a little bit. I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of things about Japan that make me less wanting to go there. Okay, see, this is why I didn't want to have the conversation. This is why I didn't want to do this. Diz, go to Japan. Diz, go to Japan. Because there's a lot of great things. You're not going to go to Japan, turn a corner, and get like jumped or something like that. You'll be okay. And there are truly a lot of. Oh, see, so now that I've said that, let me follow it up with some stuff. There are a few people. Um, I believe that, Isidore. I believe that the people in Spain and Chile are a little bit more understanding. Stares at Yakuza, good old cup of soup. Yakuza are going to just randomly jump some black person that's walking in the street. But that's not the point of the conversation. I do want to say, there are people that I will even mention by name. There's a DJ named Taros, and it was her birthday recently, by the way. It's not important, maybe to you guys. But there's also a DJ named Hype. There's like quite a few people. Also, we were just talking about Dede Mouse earlier. Dede Mouse is also a Japanese person that lives out there. Ujiko, who I talked about in yesterday's stream, also a Japanese person that lives out there. A lot of these people happen to be artists, I know. It's a specific community, but there are a lot of people out there that when I was there, guys, I was surrounded with love by the people who knew who I was. There was a lot of people that were like, yo, that's Omni, we respect Omni. And even outside of that bubble, because I understand that that is a bubble that maybe a lot of people don't have when they go to Japan. Not a lot of people have the luxury of just like a tour or fans. So even outside of that bubble, there were a few times in Tokyo, a significant few times more in Osaka, which I can get into how they're a little bit more liberal and accepting over there. But there were quite a few very beautiful situations where I did talk to somebody in Japanese. They understood what I said, and we actually had like a pretty pleasant exchange. Or somebody did something nice for me, or somebody, which also is kind of more baked into their culture than it was like a personal thing. Like somebody kind of stepped out of their way to help me with something. There were a lot of very, very good experiences, Diz. A lot of great experiences that I had in Japan. A lot of really good human moments. In the same way, Diz, that in going to New York, you can have a lot of very beautiful experiences, but you could also have some really messed up ones. Japan, just like any other country, has those. But I would very much recommend anybody who has even the slightest interest in Japan to go because it is a beautiful country. A lot of the cities are beautiful, and a lot of the people are beautiful and open, and a lot can be gained. But it is a very homogenous, kind of xenophobic country. So, just be wary of that. Don't run around and expect everybody in the streets to be like, oh my God, is that a black man? We love y'all here. Like, don't expect that. Like, maybe not going to be welcomed with open arms, but a lot of that is just also the culture. They're not really doing that particularly to anybody. I mean, white people seem to have a great time though. Oh, I wish I didn't say that at the end. I grew up in a town that had a lot of Japanese people, says Liana. I had best friends in elementary school who were Japanese, and one of their parents owned a Japanese grocery store, so that probably had a big impact. Oh. Hmm. Word. Word up, Diz. Word up, Diz. That's good. I just want to travel, to be honest. I don't really care about the place I go sucks or not, says Umbe. Yeah, we're all getting pretty stir crazy right now. Cyber says Japan is fun. Taiwan is just as fun. Go to Taiwan. Taiwan is like Japan with less racism. I love Japan. Anyways, I was supposed to go to Taiwan. That was one of the stops on my tour. Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that a cool thing that didn't happen? But I will. I will make it to Taiwan. I will make it out there. Yeah, I know, Lumbe. I shouldn't have said that, but it's true. I'm not going to say it again in the stream, but there is a whole story behind that. Personal stories and a more cultural, global story on why. Ooh, yeah. No, that would mention names, but I did go to Japan several times, and one time I went to Japan with somebody who had, I don't know, a different skin tone than me, and they didn't speak Japanese at all, and I did, and they were constantly fumbling over themselves, unable to like learn the rules, learn the mannerisms, have basic decency. They were constantly fumbling, and everybody was just like, "It's okay, we love you," and I would mispronounce a word, and it was as if I had like killed somebody's cat, and I was like, I see how it is, but I'm not gonna talk about that in this stream, Umbe. This says I have just done some research, as you should before going to another country. Yeah, please do your research, guys, before just getting on a plane someplace. And I realized that there are cultural things that might not match with my personality. Personally, hmm. Were you looking at things about Japan or specifically Tokyo? I'm definitely not here to play devil's advocate. I'm just here to say that as somebody that has been to several different cities in Japan, a lot can change from city to city. A lot can change from city to city. I'm not saying you're going to go to one city and it's going to suddenly be like Orlando, Florida, but I'm saying that if I had only gone to Tokyo, I would have definitely come back with some misgivings about the country that would not have been accurate, right? Like going to New York City and then being like, I don't like America. It's dirty and people are mean. Like, yeah, not every city is like New York, and not every city, gets the same love that New York gets. Kind of like Tokyo and Japan. Anyways, Isidora says yes, Japan is fun. I want to return at the time that I'll be prepared for the looks for my tattoos. Word up, because we both know what those looks are going to be like. The only thing about the fake politeness, says Diz, I have an issue with being told one thing and really the situation is different. You only being lied to? Cyrus says the same advice goes for anyone visiting a country that is one, you're a guest, yes. Two, act like a guest in a place where you're new, and in most cases people will leave you alone. Very true. Um, yeah, just have respect for the place that you're in. I can see why people would give her a hard time. Yeah. Isidora's got tattoos. As someone from Paris, I find people from New York pretty nice, says Eddie. Eddie, you are just not gonna stop crapping on Paris your entire time in this. Eddie has several very thinly veiled knocks to Paris, and as somebody who also doesn't particularly enjoy the city of Paris, I find them funny. But yeah, I would say New Yorkers are nicer than Parisians, but I was being very specific about the, the United States. Yo, people in Paris are wild. Like, I actually kind of like that. I will. Do I? The difference between somebody being very honest and blunt and mean to me to my face versus somebody being nice to me even though they don't particularly like me. I would say that I actually choose Japan because wow, yeah, I guess lie to me. I mean, everybody's got their personal thing, but I think if everybody in Japan was being overtly racist and mean to me, like actively mean to me every time I went out, it would not be it wouldn't be a place I could go. I'd be like, no, screw Japan. I guess I just don't want to go to that entire country. If every time I go out, it's gonna be like an argument. It's gonna be like a fight. Like I can't do that. So I kind of prefer the people just like doing whatever they can do to get along. Because I mean, people do that here. I like I just said, like I live in a predominantly Asian area. People aren't super nice to me here. When people are nice to me, it's like an event. I talked recently, like maybe 10 streams ago, about how I was walking my sister to her car, and a woman who always ignored me, never waved back at me, never returned a good morning, always like walked a wide berth around me even before quarantine. Her baby waved at me. I waved to the baby, and only then did she smile and wave at me. And I was like, "What the heck? Like I've lived here for years. You've never acknowledged my existence once, but now that your baby waved at me, now you gotta wave." So I mean, I experienced that at home too. It's not just Japan. Uh, People from Paris have a very specific type of politeness and kindness that I actually like, says Eddie. Oh. So then what, do people from New York have a kindness and politeness even somehow is higher than that, Eddie? Staten Island, boring AF, says Umbe, the city where the cool kids are at. Word up, you know. I've never gone to Staten Island. Every single time I'm in New York and I mention Staten Island, all of my New Yorker friends laugh and then hurl a bunch of insults at Staten Island, and I don't get it really because I'm not from there. I don't get the regional rivalry or hate, but I know that New Yorkers do have opinions about Staten Islanders. I'm in dire need of food, says Cyber, so I'll be back later, but I'm staying tuned in. Yeah, I need to also get food. We should probably start wrapping it up, guys, but yeah, in conclusion, Japan's cool. Definitely travel as much as you can. Um, even in places that don't seem super conducive to you having a good time, can sometimes be educational and can widen your berth a little bit, right? Not all racism is the same. Not all people are the same. I want to travel as much as I can. Language barriers are a nightmare. I wish they didn't exist, but they do, and that makes things hard. But try to just go places, guys. Go to a different culture, especially if it's one that you already appreciate. For example, me in Japan or me in Korea now. If anything, my appreciation of Korean culture has spiked after my performance there. When I performed there, I was just like, Korea seems cool. I like one, two, and three things from Korea, and then after playing there and coming home, like now I like really like stuff. Um, Nobody's talking about Google Translate. This is saying, I still would like to play baseball in Japan. Interesting. I don't know that I've ever heard that sentence. I gotta have a quick combo with someone on the street in Paris. It ain't happening. Oh. Talking about New York. Oh, interesting. Hmm. Hmm. That's rough, Eddie. It's rough because I hear you. I hear you about the quick combo on the street, but I do live in LA, which is like the conversation place. Like New York compared to LA, and if I'm comparing LA to New York, no one talks to anyone. That's how cold it is. And people have talked to me in New York, but I'm just saying compared to LA, in LA, I can't leave my house without like having at least a casual conversation with somebody. People are just talking, you know. That's chill though. That's cool, right? Everything is relative. Everything's super relative. I forgot Japan did baseball, says Gil Kobasu. Boy, do they ever. There's movies about Japanese baseball. Um, there's UK English and American English, way different, says Mobtown. Yeah, for sure. I mean, as somebody that's been watching a lot of Degrassi, I can even make an argument that Canadian English and American English is pretty different. Um, talk about Australia, they got some weird stuff too. I mean, there's a lot. English being so vast, much like Chinese, there's just so many different versions and dialects, you know? It's rough. I saw a businessman in New York ask for some directions, expecting to get ignored, though, but he stopped, answered, and asked where my accent was from, and we talked. Doesn't count, doesn't count, doesn't count. I'm gonna go ahead and disqualify Eddie's entry into this episode of Was the Stranger Nice to You and for what reason? Because you have a cool accent. Uh, Anytime anybody has an accent, they're experiencing like, especially like what, you're experiencing a different plane of existence than I am. I'm sorry, you just are. Me walking into a club and saying two words, and somebody walking into a club and saying two words with like a British accent or an Australian accent, or honestly any type of accent, it's there. There's a different thing going on. Canadian English is weird, and Australian is even weirder to me, says Mobtown. I find Canadian English to be very charming. Um, but a lot of that has to do with maybe some even problematic stereotypes for Canadians. If in Paris, if you have an accent, they might elbow your throat, bro. Facts. That's fair. I'm not talking about Parisians. I've already talked about how I don't particularly care for them. You're saying you appreciate their politeness more, but you're also talking about getting elbowed in the throat. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, not meant to be negative, just different. I actually like it better, says Mobtown talking about. Oh, no. I know nothing you were saying was negative. I'm just saying that I personally have a lot of deeply rooted stereotypes towards Canadians being extra nice and kind of chill, and that's not actually the case necessarily. It's a weird thing. It's just like, thinking that all black men are violent and angry. It's like not the case all the time. And sometimes that stereotype, I mean, black men being violent is a stereotype that's pretty immediately harmful. Canadian people being nice on the surface seems like, oh, harmless stereotype, but it can be a little harmful. So I'm trying to undo whatever I've learned that made me think that they were all nice. Everyone's weird. This is true, Liana. Only true words of the stream. Hey, not me. Oh, okay, okay. You become so much cooler to be known if you are. Yeah, yeah. This is spitting factoronies. There's a thing. There's a thing. You can't if you have a French accent or an Italian accent or a Spanish accent. If you speak the Romance languages, then you bring that accent in English to really any of the English speaking countries. People are going to give you a little bit more, let's say, benefit of the doubt. If I'm stopping somebody and asking for directions and I have a French accent, probably going to be pretty chill experience, whether I'm in LA or New York. If I'm stopping that same person, sounding like I sound right now, yeah, businessman is not going to stop and talk to me, Eddie. Businessman is going to look at me and go, ha, and then keep walking. Because I have been in New York and I have asked for directions. And I did sound like this. And I mean, I had a phone, so it was okay. I didn't die or anything. What I like about Paris is that I always know where I'm at with people, if they like me or not. That's an issue I have with Montreal right now. A lot of fakeness. Mobtown says we have Ebonics in America, and apparently there isn't anything like that in other countries. I would argue there's things like that in other countries. Maybe not to the same extent, but I would argue that there's things like that in other countries. I think that, oh, boy, are there ever, actually. Anyways, but yeah, this is hard. This is hard. I will say Eddie having the issue with fakeness in Montreal, I I'm realizing now that we're having this conversation that it's actually very difficult to talk about a unilateral experience in a culture for a person, because there are some people who people will be very straight up front with and forward and honest and forthcoming, and I think that there are some people like that, and then there are some people who are never really going to be given that luxury no matter what culture they're in. If you think about it in terms of, even if we're just talking about a traditional male experience in a nightclub in, I don't know, 2007, a year that I literally couldn't tell you what was happening in nightclubs because I wasn't old enough to enter them. I think like a dude's perspective and treatment by the club and a girl's perspective and treatment by the club is very, very vastly different. And those two people can come away from the club feeling like clubs are this or clubs are that, and they probably won't have the same answer to match up. And kind of in the same way that we were talking about Eddie's accent and how a French accent does wonders for somebody in a foreign place, particularly if that foreign place is America, because America has had a love affair with French accents and French culture and French music and French fashion and French women and French food for a very long time. Although we don't seem to like the country very much. We love the things that come out of it. So it's a very different experience. I mean, flash to any 90s sitcom when like a French man shows up on screen and the crowd goes wild and there's hearts everywhere. It's everybody loves French. But I think that in that same way, my experience in the United States, because of the way I look, I might have a different narrative coming from it than maybe, I don't know, Zed. Zed's not American. But yeah, you get the point that I'm making. Everybody's experience is it is really hard. So, for example, just like I talked about with me and the unnamed other person that went to Japan, my experience in Japan is vastly different from theirs. And so they may come back and be like, everybody's so nice, they do everything for you, like you can keep screwing up, you can wear your shoes past the threshold and they'll be really, really nice and just correct you everything's really cool. Don't worry about ever messing up. Don't even worry about learning Japanese. Don't worry about studying the culture at all. Just kind of bumble from one experience to the next and people will kind of pick up after you. It's dope. I don't have that experience, so I can't say that. In the same way that there's a lot of experiences for me, like riding the Blue Line through Watts or like going and like hanging out in Compton. For me, it's like, nah, it's like fine. I'm like, okay. But that same place, that same route is not safe or enjoyable for everybody, so I have to be mindful when I'm saying that. So, this conversation becomes way, way more complicated than it started off as. Yeah, I have no idea. Everybody just go wherever you go and then report back here, because I now I don't feel like I'm authorized to give any insight into like what cultures are like and how they'll treat you. It seems a little bit more specific. Yeah, a little bit more specific. And he says, I've had to learn in Montreal that people asking for my contacts doesn't mean anything. In Paris, I feel like everybody is a bit paranoid. So if someone asks for your number, you will see that person again. Interesting. Yeah, people... I would say America feels a little bit more like Montreal then, maybe. Because like a lot of people have my number, and I don't hear from them all the time. People usually don't ask for my number, though. They'll usually ask for social media, but that's kind of beside the point. The thing is that with fake people culture is that negative behavior can end up being enabled. Good point is, it's hard to know if you are really in the right, because no matter what, they will say, no, you're fine. Yeah. Oh, I saw him. Dang it. Sorry, guys. I guess I have another mosquito in here. Okay, alright, yeah, this is right. We're gonna start wrapping up. This is absolutely right, and cultures where everybody's really, really nice and doesn't tell you when you're doing things wrong. Sometimes people can end up bumbling around. I would argue that this, not meaning to always bring the conversation back to Japan, but I think this happens sometimes in Japan, but specifically with foreigners. If you're a foreigner, if you're a white tourist, and you go to Japan, usually people will kind of let you screw up a lot. Um, However, with Japanese people, they know their own culture and they know not to screw up. Even though in their own culture they don't call each other out, they know, when something wrong has happened. It's weird. If you understand the rules of the culture, you can follow them. But if you're a visitor and you don't understand, you're an outsider, it's a little bit harder. Um, yeah. So, hmm. I didn't live there, but I had a friend that lived in Japan, and she talks to me about like a whole experience with like a like garbage being out on the wrong day versus being out on, whatever. Point is, a neighbor was very, very nice and polite and corrected her, but it was a very polite thing, and on the surface it seemed like, oh, it's no problem, don't worry about it. But she was like, it was very understood because I understand how language works and I understood Japanese culture. I I got that she was making a point and that this was a big deal. Um, and so maybe to somebody that doesn't understand the culture, they're not able to understand that it's a big deal. But yeah, if you're in the culture, in the same way that if I'm getting on again on the blue line and I'm going from like 7th and Metro down to Long Beach, I can tell when a fight's about to happen on the subway. Not because somebody says, "Hey, a brawl is about to happen in 10 seconds. Everybody, mind your business." You just kind of can feel and you can like read social cues. Maybe somebody that isn't familiar with American culture or social cues will be surprised when the fight breaks out on the blue line. Um, yeah, it's weird, right? We all have a language in our culture, and maybe that's hard to understand for people that aren't part of the culture. A lot of redundancies in the stream. I apologize. For those who don't know, the past grew up as being called gosh, it's smashing, and it's amazing. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, alright. Okay, everybody. I have two pieces of music out, which are a year old. One is called Ego Death, the other one is called Quick Breath, and you can hear them on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. I also have some quarantines and some videos that I've shot for different songs I've made also up. If you want to check those out. If not, I hope you do enjoy whatever is left of your Wednesday. I assume there's a lot left if you're in the States. Um, do they have New York style street fights in Japan? Yes, fights break out in Japan, but not nearly to the extent that New York style. So, like, I feel like when you say New York style, I want to just blatantly answer no. I think street fights happen in every country around the world. It's going to happen, but I think at the to the extent that they happen in New York, no. Yes. Street Fighter. They have New York style Street Fight Japan. Blah blah blah. Street fights. Yeah, street fights. All right, guys. Um, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, guys. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving the house. Yesterday I went out for pizza. Today I'm going to inevitably have to leave to eat. I've unfortunately been eating out a lot, guys. I feel disgusting, but it's so hot and I don't have AC that cooking in my like 90-year-old kitchen that this building has, it is it is unbearable. the levels of heat. Like I feel dizzy. Like I feel like I'm gonna pass out when I cook in that kitchen. So I've been trying to either prepare things like sandwiches that don't require me to like generate heat, or I've just been eating out. So I'm probably only gonna leave to get food today, and then I'm gonna be working for the rest of the day. Um, yes. Grill out. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. You're gonna get me killed, Cyber. Um, yeah, thank you for having good questions, Inbay. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys here tomorrow for Thursday's stream. Oh my god, these weeks are flying by. Thursday stream number 204. The stream before the production stream. I might have to run my AC, like my little cooler unit in my room. I have like a wall unit. It doesn't really work that well, but I might have to run it for the production stream, guys. Because like being around all those keyboards on my computer, it just makes the room so hot. Maybe I can turn off my mic while I'm doing it so it doesn't make too much noise, but yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. All right, abo everybody. Thank you for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Abo. Mm-hmm.